Right, light linking is super, super helpful if you have, this is the same video that I used for my 3-point light setup. Um, so in this case, I've actually, for once, I've done a lighting setup that isn't totally terrible and it doesn't look completely like trash. I'm going to break it so it looks completely trashy. So one thing that I have a lot with 3-point light setups, because I like these really, really strangely colored, like bright key lights. Like a lot of times I'll make them blue or something insane. Is you have this very, very bright, like interesting sort of highlight here, but then you have this really bright thing on the floor from that light that tends to make the scene look pretty weird, and it like draws the eye to that rather than the face. So there is an easy way to fix that, and it is with light linking. So the basic premise behind light linking is that you are able to control what a particular light affects. So if we go in, and let me just renable this, ground, face. All right, so if you go into Windows, Relationship Editors, and Light Linking, both of these do exactly the same thing. It just depends what workflow you like. So light-centric is basically going to be for each light you can turn on and off objects. Object-centric is for each object you turn on and off lights. They do exactly the same thing, just kind of pick one, honestly. So I usually just kind of prefer light-centric, especially for small scenes like this. But what you can do, you'll see the lights here and the different pieces of geometry in your scene. So if you grab the rim light, you can see all the stuff it's affecting. And if you click ground, you can literally just turn off that light entirely, so it's just not affecting the ground. If you turn it off the face, won't affect that. So you can have lights like only affecting specific areas of your scene. Oh god. Why that's just sort of showing through the face, I'm not sure, but you know, whatever. Kind of like it. But anywho, so basically my goal here, I think I've caused some kind of strange render glitch. Because that is not at all how that should be rendering. But basically, you can use this to sort of cheat it. So you can, what I want, and there we go. So what I want in this instance is, I'm going to pretend that I like this really bright, weird purple light here, and I would like that to stay there. But if you just turn off the ground light, it looks pretty unrealistic, because it's like, well, you have this bright light here, and it's not affecting anything else in the scene, which is a little bit weird. So what you can do is go through, so I'm going to duplicate this rim light, so I have two lights in the exact same face, or in the exact same place, and that was actually, I duplicated the ground plane, my bad. Grab your rim light, duplicate the rim light, and I'll just say rim light for ground. And what I'm going to do is just parent this under the original light so that if I move this one, it takes the ground one, and I'm not going to like accidentally have them in different places because that'll also look really weird. But what you can do, so again, for the original light, not affecting the ground at all. For the ground light, we don't want that affecting the face. And I should also actually play my my render. So we can just turn the face off on that. So we have the ground only affecting the ground, and the rim light only affecting the face. And once again, I should probably refresh that because it looks really strange. I'm not sure why this is having so many render glitches. It's, for the record, it's not the light linking. I think my Arnold's just being crazy right now. But what this allows, it looks exactly the same right now. What we can do is go in, and you'll notice that if we change the color temperature of the light entirely, I can have a red light. Ooh, I actually really like that. I can have a red light on the ground and purple light here if I want to. In this case, we're going for realism, though, well, as realistic as you can get with this particular light colors. So what I'm going to do is just bump the exposure on that ground light back a little bit so that we have, like, the purple is still obviously there and still obviously affecting the ground. It's just not as bright, and the focus comes back onto the face. So you can use light linking for a lot of stuff like that. I know oftentimes in the big movie studios, you get those like really nice little specular highlights on the eyes. They'll just have lights that follow the eyes around that are light linked to them. They're not really affecting anything else. They're just there to make sparkly eyeballs, which I always thought was like pretty funny. Clever, but funny. So that's the basic premise behind light linking. It really is just sort of like click an option and click whatever you don't want it to affect. And in this case, it seems like my ground light is still affecting my head. So I'll just go ahead and turn that off. And just be aware if something's not showing up, you probably need to refresh your render view. And just to be clear, the reason that I go in, it also makes the shadows sort of fall in a nicer way, I guess. But if you go through and you do change the position of that ground light, like what am I moving the actual, oh Lord. What have I done? Have I just moved the ground plane? What is, what? I have never seen that happen before. Like, ever. Apparently, I had the ground plane selected, and I did panels look through selected, and I just started moving the ground plane. That was very weird. But you can change, like, if you blatantly change the direction of the fill light, so it's like coming from from the light that's affecting the ground, so it's coming from a blatantly different direction, it's still going to make really strange effects, and it's like not going to look right, which is why I always duplicate this light and sort of keep it in the same spot, parent it under the rim light. That way you should be able to move the rim light and just sort of have the other light follow and automatically look not crazy. The other thing to be aware of with light linking is like right here, and it's a little bit kind of hard to tell. We have this really bright light on the ground, and it's not really lighting up the side of this face. There is a little bit of light being bounced back on, but that's from the global illumination where the light is like bouncing off the floor and being reflected up onto the side of this character. If we turn on the effect for this light so it's actually lighting the face properly, you'll notice there's a lot more light there than was coming in previously. So just something to be aware of. You can use this to sort of refine the lighting to highlight what you want to highlight, or to make your renders faster sometimes. But you can also make really strange effects that do not look realistic in the slightest. So do just be aware of that while you are doing your light linking stuff. But it's not uncommon for me. Like sometimes I'll have like 5 or 6 copies of lights just sort of around affecting different things. So you can get as crazy with this as you want, or just use it like, whenever you need it.